Hello, I'm Luke. Today, I'm sharing the first video in a three-part series. In this series, I'll be talking about adolescence and the biggest financial mistakes you can make during your youth. All right, let's talk money. Specifically, let's talk about all the ways you're probably lighting it on fire without even realizing it. Look, I'm not judging anyone. I've made most of these mistakes myself, some of them more than once. So think of this not as a lecture, but as an assessment from someone who has already crashed their car, paid the tow truck, and is now trying to warn you about the pothole ahead. Let's begin then. Buy now, pay later. Bad financial decision. This thing is a plague. A well-dressed, interest-free sounding plague. Here's what BNPL does. It takes a $1,200 item and slaps a $67 per month sticker on it, so your brain goes, oh, that's totally fine. No, it's not fine. It's still $1,200. You just convinced yourself otherwise, using install math, and people aren't using this for big purchases anymore. I've seen people break down their grocery bill into 4 payments. Groceries, if your Tuesday dinner needs a financing plan, that's a sign, and not a good one. The real trap is stacking. You've got 5 different BNPL apps running simultaneously, each one looking harmless at $20 a pop. Add them up, and you're quietly hemorrhaging $150 a month on stuff you barely remember buying. Buying or leasing a brand new car, major setback. Oh boy, this one hurts me personally. There is a very predictable pattern that happens to people during their youth. They get their first decent paycheck, and the first thing their brain says is, you know what I deserve? A new car. So they go get one. Then they get a raise at 21 and think, okay, but now I really deserve a better car. And by 23, they've convinced themselves that an electric vehicle is actually a financially responsible decision. Because, and I love this one, I'll save on gas. I know this because I did exactly this multiple times. Here's the cold, boring, correct answer. Buy a reliable used car. Something a little ugly, something with 80,000 miles on it, something you can pay cash for or pay off fast. Your social life might take a minor hit, but your net worth will not. Every dollar you're not spending on a $500 per month car payment is a dollar that can start working for you. And that gap compounds over time. Copying your friends' financial moves. Learning mistake. Your friend tells you about a stock. He's fired up. He says it's going to the moon. He says it like he's got inside information from the universe itself. 6 months later, he's down 40%. This happens constantly. The thing is, your friend's financial situation is not your financial situation. His risk tolerance, his income, his obligations, none of it maps directly onto yours. If a friend points you toward something interesting, great, use it as a starting point. Then, go do your own research and make your own decision. Even if you lose money, at least it was your call. Co-signing for someone financial doom. I don't care if it's your best friend since 3rd grade. I don't care if it's your sibling. I don't care if they swear on everything they love that they'll never miss a payment. Do not co-sign for anyone When you co-sign, you're not just being nice. You're legally attaching your name and your credit score to someone else's financial behavior. And people's financial behavior can change fast due to job loss, a breakup, bad decisions, or just life. If they miss payments, those missed payments show up on your record. Not just theirs. Your finances are something you have to protect like they're precious, because they are. A simple no, sorry protects you from years of potential damage. That's not selfish. That's smart. Paying for courses you don't need. Bad financial decision. Here's the thing. Not all courses are bad. If you're taking something that adds a real, verifiable skill to your resume in a field where employers actually care, and the price is reasonable, go for it. The problem is the other kind. The online guru promising you 50% returns if you just pay $997 for his masterclass, the cryptocurrency trading course, or the financial freedom package being sold by a 26-year-old on Instagram. Those are not courses. Those are someone else's retirement plan. Before you pay for anything, ask yourself, can I learn this for free? Because 90% of the time, the honest answer is yes. Eating out too much. Bad financial decision. I'll be the first one to raise my hand here. This is my personal financial leak, and I know it. The problem isn't one dinner out. The problem is the habit. It's the I'll just grab something mentality that quietly costs you $400 to $600 a month without ever feeling like a big decision. And food delivery has made it worse. You're not just paying for the food, you're paying the delivery fee, the service fee, the tip, and the we invented another fee. What would have been a $12 meal is now $27, and it arrived cold. Cooking at home is cheaper, healthier, and if you actually sit down and do the math on what you spend eating out versus cooking, it will genuinely surprise you. Not having an emergency fund. Financial doom. This one doesn't feel urgent, right up until it is. The idea is simple. 3 to 6 months of living expenses sitting in a high-yield savings account, untouched, not invested, not earning spectacular returns. Just there, waiting, because here's what happens without it. Your car needs a $700 repair, and you don't have $700, so it goes on a credit card at 26% interest. Suddenly, a mechanical problem becomes a debt problem. Or you lose your job and you've got only 2 weeks of runway before things get genuinely scary. The emergency fund is boring. That's the point. It's boring, but it's there when you need it. Gambling, financial doom. Sports betting is everywhere right now. It's on your phone. It's endorsed by athletes you grew up watching. And it's built to feel like a game of skill rather than what it actually is. I know someone who genuinely does well at it. He sends me screenshots. He's in the green. I still don't recommend it because the psychology is designed to keep you playing when you're losing. That's where it gets people. The wins feel earned. The losses feel temporary. And the gap between recreational betting and this is a problem is smaller than anyone thinks going in. Put that same money into an index fund. It doesn't have a halftime show, but it also won't empty your bank account at 2 a.m. on a Sunday. And that brings us to the end of our very first video in this series. We've covered some of the biggest traps you can fall into, but we are just getting started. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss part 2. And I'll see you in the next one.